Welcome everyone to Coach Unboxed. This is a project by Unboxed Sports, an agency elevating professional tour tennis coaches on and off the court. I'm Yannick Yoshizawa, and today I'm joined by Thomas Drouet. As a coach, Thomas has led players to win Grand Slam titles in both singles and doubles, also winning 18 WTA doubles championships, 4 singles titles, and 6 runner-ups on the tour, including the win of the WTA Finals in doubles with Timea Babos. Thomas led players to achieve career high rankings like number 1, top 10 singles, and 4 players to top 25. So welcome, Thomas. Thanks for joining us. How is everything? I've seen you been cycling a lot as well. How's life?
Hello, Yannick. Thank you for having me. I am in Monaco now, so I'm free at the moment, so I have a lot of time to take care of my family, my son who is playing, and as you just mentioned, I am a big fan of cycling. So quite every morning I'm on my bike. I do some races when I have time. So a lot of fun.
How many kilometers or miles do you do every morning average?
In average, it's 3 hours. So here, as it's lot of climbing, around 75 to 80 kilometers a day. I do like 15 hours a week normally in a normal week.
Wow. That's awesome. And then you said your son also plays. How old is he?
He's 10 and a half. So yeah, we play 4 to 5 times a week. So usually I do my bike in the morning, and in the afternoon after school, I take care of my son. So I'm
Very
quite
cool.
busy.
How is that? Before we get into Thomas, how is the relationship? My mom was my coach growing up as well. So how is that relationship so far as a father and son, coach and player?
It was not easy last year. We had a tough moment, but the tour also, the tour help us as a coach to stay open-minded and to try to find solution. That's what we do all day. So I adapt the same concept with my son, and we went to see a psychologist together. Because one day my son told me on the court, Papa, I want you to be my dad also on the court. And I didn't understand his sentence because he didn't want to do the exercise I was telling him, like he was not picking up the ball. We were fighting every day on the court. And I said, no, I don't want this relationship with my son. I saw it too many times on the tour and I don't want to become like this. So she explained me that he accepts the authority, of the dad, the coach, who is dad. You have to give space also for the fun part, not only the discipline and the work. So we made this thing that in the beginning of the training, we do a game that he choose. Then during the core of the séance, I choose the exercises. At the end, we do again another game. And since that day, our relationship completely changed on the court, and it's very positive.
That's awesome. I love that. I've heard this theory. It's called the sandwich
Yeah.
training, where you start with something good and then you go into something discipline or serious or whatever, and then you finish with something.
Exactly. It's exactly like this. That's it.
That's awesome. Well, talking about your son, let's go back now and talk about Thomas as a kid yourself. Tell us, where did you grow up? How was your childhood in general? And how did you first learn about tennis and you maybe fell in love with the sport?
So I was born in the north of France, in a very small village, like 4,000 citizens only. And the first time I had contact with the tennis world was through my grandfather. He was playing football, and at age of 41, he stopped and he started to play tennis. You know, when you fall in love with a sport at that age, it's like me with cycling, you go crazy. So he was playing a lot. And one day he brought me to the court and he gave me 1 liter racket. And he saw me playing for 3 hours on the wall alone. And he said, this kid is playing for 3 hours, doesn't ask anything. So there must be something there. And then I started to play with him. I started 3 years old. The first 2 years was only in the summer. And my mom told me the story that I was scared because I had to sleep in the afternoon, like the nap. I was going in the tennis bag of my grandfather to sleep because I didn't want him to miss me, to go to the tennis court. So this is how I started to play.
When did you, let's say, first start to get serious into that? You were training more like on the day-to-day, because also tennis, it's pretty popular, but I would say football is the number one sport there.
Yes.
Were you playing different sports, or did you straight go into tennis and that's your first more serious sport?
I started to be a bit more serious around 9 years old, and I wanted to play football at the same time, but my grandmother, she didn't want. She had decided that I could be injured, because with the contact, and so I did gymnastic,
Yeah.
but I was the only guy with 20 girls. But for the core and to feel relaxed, it was good for my body. But I didn't like it. And after that, I tried basketball. I was good, but I could never play the matches on Sunday because I had tournaments. So after a while, you are a bit on the side of the team, and I didn't feel comfortable. So after that, I only played tennis. But it became really serious when age of 12 years old. I was in the top 12 players in France. So I got to the National Tennis Center, and I moved from my house at 12 years old.
Was the training starting in Paris?
No, in Reims, it was like 100 kilometers from my hometown.
Okay, so you moved completely. You go and live there full time, train every
Yeah,
day,
yeah.
study and everything at the training center.
Yes, we had school until 2 or 3 p.m. After that, we had training.
Wow.
And I was sleeping there. I was not anymore in my parents' house. So I could see my parents only one weekend per month.
So I think for the parents also and kids listening to this, what was that moment as a 12-year-old where you were already thinking like, I want to become a professional tennis player? Or was that just all news like, wow, I got invited to, be in this training circuit, this is cool, this is fun, I get to play. Was that more your mentality, or were you already like locked into I will become a professional player?
I was not in that thing. I want to become professional. I think when you win tournaments at early age, then you get in this wheel, and then you are part of this national team and this and that. I was just following the reason, but I never had at young age, oh, I want to be professional. I liked to play tennis. I think around 15 years old, I started to say, okay, now I want to go for it. I want to be professional. But before that, I was just following with my friends, like in the kids, it was not only tennis, it was like 12 sports. So we were like over 300 kids.
So talk a little bit about this transition now as you're 15. What do I do as I start to leave the teenage years? And as we know, becoming a professional tennis player, just earning a point is not easy, let alone actually make that as a career. Talk about that transition of winning tournaments as a junior and now headed into the professional. How was that mindset of yours? Tell us about the support system that you had. Were you just traveling as a team? Were you traveling by yourself? Did you have a coach? Was your family involved? How was that process?
It was difficult for me because at that time, even in France, I had to go to school until 18 years old. I had to have my baccalaureate, they call it, the final exam before to go to university, for example, in US. And I couldn't finish school before 4 or 5 p.m. So I could train only after that. So comparing to my other friend who they really stopped school at 16 years old. So they were training already like pro. Me, I was playing 1 hour and a half per day only, and twice and 3 times a week fitness only.
Mm.
So this is how I didn't even play junior. I played two junior in my life because my family, they had no clue about tennis. Like what are the rules, like the tennis Europe and everything. They didn't know. And my coach was more into study. First you study and then we will see. Regarding what's happening now, it's wow. So can you imagine? I was minus 15. I think, I don't know if you know, that I was in the top 80 players in France, adults at 17, 18 years old, but I was still going to school.
Yeah.
And after that, so I was about to go to US to study in U Texas, the university.
Yeah.
They signed me, but at the same time, Monaco, they contacted me, and their project was to create a team of French player. And after 2 years, when you live in Monaco, you can play for Monaco. You have to wait 2 years. So they signed me, and I chose Monaco instead of going to US. Because also at that time in France, the mentality was like, if you go to US, yeah, you're going to play tennis, it's going to be great level, but you are not allowed to play futures,
Yeah.
which was completely wrong. We could, it's just, like the amount of money, you cannot take it all. So this is why I didn't go to US and I chose Monaco.
Monaco is its own country within France, but it's an independent country. So you get called by this country where it's basically they're trying to develop and become a stronger nation within tennis. So you go and you move to Monaco at that point.
Yeah.
And you were
19 years
18,
old,
19 years old.
19, 19 years
Okay.
old, September, I arrived there. I remember with my 2 bags. I took the car from the Nice airport, and when you arrive to Monaco, I don't know if you went there. So you see the Rocher, where the prince live. And I was like amazed because I never seen this or the Ferrari in the street. I never saw in my life. And so it's amazing country. I had an apartment in Monaco. I was not paying for my coach. I mean, it was not a personal coach. We were a team of 5, 6 players, and we
Yeah.
could train there for free. I had the apartment, and they were giving me a little budget for the year, to support the tournament. But because my family they couldn't afford, I mean, I have two brother and one sister also, so it was impossible. They couldn't give me
Yeah, I
one
mean,
cent.
there are not a lot of people that can afford to live in
No, yeah.
Monaco, but what a great opportunity. Moving there, part of this, and you ended up playing for Monaco Davis Cup for so many years. Talk now about that experience, right? You are in a very special place, Monte Carlo, one of the most prestigious tournaments in the world. How was that for you? You're seeing the best of the best players playing, in your backyard, basically. Did that inspire you to continue to play in the professional? Were you already thinking like, what do I do? Do I want to go into coaching? I heard you also were a hitting partner during the tournament there. Talk about one, the professional career for you as a player, but also having that experience in the most prestigious tournament in the world.
The place of Monaco is amazing for that because you have a lot of pro player who live there. So when I moved to Monaco, I was using every single opportunity to train with the top players. I practice with Justin Henin. I practice with Björkman, with Thomas Enquist. I mean, this when I was playing. So on top of my training, I was going with them and hitting pass. I learned a lot being next to those guys. I could see the discipline, the intensity, how they were serious when they were training. So this was a eyes opener for me, and I was very lucky to meet all those people, sorry. And then during the Rolex Masters, when I worked I played 3 times as a player because I was Davis Cup player, so they were giving me wildcard. And also I was doing hitting partner. I wanted to play with even better player, and I played many, many times with Rafael Nadal. And when I saw him training, intensity was putting, how serious he was, I was like, okay, now I know why he's this good. And I mean, I was like a kid, and people were telling me, he's not paying you to play. I say, "Well, he's so rich. Say, why? I would pay to play for him, to learn. So, and that experience was amazing. Like, I was observing in the locker room what they were eating, what they were drinking in the gym. I learned so many things watching them.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically a course by itself
Yeah.
if you want to become a professional player, but also if you want to ever become a coach, now you can see the habits, all the
Yeah.
trainings and the drills, the technique that all these players have. So, talk to me like, well, first question, did you ever think that you were going to be a coach, or did you ever wanted to be a coach when you were playing, or
Yes, it was in my mind. I had 2 options. I could become a physio and go to Belgium, for 4 years. But like the circumstances, it was like when I stopped my career, the Monte Carlo Country Club, they were looking for a coach, and they asked me because in the summer I replaced one coach who was injured, and the parents they were very happy. I was managing the competition group. So this is how I went to coaching because I really liked the fact to help people to find a solution. And I passed my exam in France, which was like 1.5 year. I mean, I got it in 2008.
so you go into one of the most prestigious clubs in the world as a coach, and let's be honest, like a lot of times it's hard to transition into the tour because it's unstable, it's unpredictable, and coaching in this high society per se is sometimes it's more. So were you thinking that like, oh, I want to coach on the tour, or was that also just it happened as part of it?
Like there are some multiple facts that push me to go on the tour. The first thing is by being a hitting partner, I had this world in front of my eyes that gave me like stars. And the second thing is like I work for 4 years in the Monte Carlo Country Club. I did everything. I created I did the fitness. I was driving the kids to the tournaments. But I felt that the club was not following me. I had the ambition here, like the desire to really do good job, but they were just, okay, let's say, be tranquil, take your money, take your cash, and that's it. Don't make waves. And that's not my personality. And then I started to train with Bernard Tomic. He was living in Monaco. And one day he asked me if I want to jump with him. And I spoke with my family, but I said, yes, okay, I'm making good money. It's a nice club. It's the best club in the world. But I don't want to be at 60 years old there and counting just my money. I want something, how do you say, more exciting. And I went on the tour. And since then, 12, 13 years after, I'm still there.
Awesome. Well, so you have this first experience with Bernard on the ATP. You guys ended up, I think you guys win a ATP title together,
Sydney.
right?
His first 250.
His first 250, probably one of the most talented players that could have reached so much more than what he did there. Now, coaching on the tour on the highest level, coaching a tennis player is much different than coaching in other sports. You're basically 24/7 with these players. Was that something that you enjoyed? Because it's not only about training. You're having breakfast, lunch, sometimes dinner. You're basically in their entire life as you're traveling, right?
Yes, I am someone independent. I like to have my me time. I'm not someone who likes to be in a group the whole day. And sometimes when you coach and you are one-to-one like this on the tour, you have to adapt with your player. If he feels good and he likes to have his team around him all day, you have to do it. So that was a bit shock for me in the beginning. That's the fact to be close but not too close. Because we need also this authority as a coach. But if you become too close and too friendly, then on the court that's not good. So it's very tough to find a good balance. But in another hand, you have plenty of time to send message. The way you talk to your player, the positive aspect you can have. I learned to listen before to talk. I learned it really like on the tour, because we can't imagine how our words as a coach can have such impact on the players. I had one girl one day, she talked to me about a conversation we had 2 years ago. I said one word and I didn't know that was such a big impact on her, a positive one. But for me, I just said that sentence like this, for me it was not important, but for her, and from that moment I said, okay, so imagine that could have been in another way.
Yeah. And now the next player, Marion Bartoli or Marion Bartoli. In 2013, you were with her and she wins the Wimbledon title. What an experience. At such a young age as a coach and as a person in general, the most traditional tournament in the world of tennis. How did you end up coaching at that specific position there? Talk to us through the whole moment of the behind the scenes of that tournament, and because I can only imagine that you'll remember every single moment, I hope, of tournament.
Yes. So the way we started to work, it was after this complicated end with Tomic. I had a meeting in the Mouratoglou Academy who was in Paris before, and on my way to the boarding, I take the French newspaper and I see it first page. Marion Bartoli is looking for a third person in her team. The dad was still there. So I called one friend who coached her before in Indian Wells for 2 weeks. He got fired after 2 weeks, and he gave me the number of Marion. I called her. And she said, where are you doing? I said, I'm coming to Paris today. She said, okay, tomorrow, 8 a.m. in Paris, we train together. So then I went to the meeting in Monaco.
How old were you then?
I was 29.
29 years old. Okay. All right. So, okay, go on. Yeah.
And so next morning I'm there, Paris, ready to warm up, and the dad is managing the training. I play with her, and after 1 hour and a half, she asked me some advices, because my role was there, being also as a hitting partner, but giving my point of view, like external point of view of what they're doing, if they can change things, if they can do things better. So I played, and she said, oh, I loved our training. Do you want to stay for this afternoon? I said, okay. And then we started, and she played Madrid, French Open also. And we continued, like everything was very good. Just she had tension with her dad, that was also like complicated.
Yeah.
And we prepare grass. And then in Eastbourne, she has to, how to say, to walk over because she's sick. So 1
The
week
week
wait,
before.
and I come in the hotel, she has fever and everything. I'm like, wow, that's gonna be tough for Wimbledon. But then after 48 hours, she started to feel good. She just had a flu, but with the
Yeah.
medicine got better. But still, we couldn't train too much. And we decided to go last minute. We stayed in Eastbourne and trained. And after all the courts were free, so we could do whatever we wanted. And I remember I was working on some zones because when she was changing down the line, I felt that she could be a bit more accurate. And then we worked on the serve. We was something technically. And we walked the flat wide one. And we joked because I think she touched 2 or 3 times the can, bam, 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 like this. And I said to her as a joke, I said, with this serve that you're going to win Wimbledon. And she laughed. She said, I wish because I'm sick. And you remember the match point?
Yeah. Now that
She
you
won.
say it, now I remember, but before I didn't think about it.
She make an ace, and I see the smoke. It gives me goosebumps to talk about this moment again each time I'm talking about it. And so we arrive in Wimbledon, but like not, and we decided to say, okay, we take it. It can be 2 weeks, so in 2 weeks you can really recover and feel better, and we take match by match. And she played Svitolina first round. For me, it was like one of my first experience to manage a player in a Grand Slam. And I feel now I had this, when you are young, you don't realize where you are at that moment. With all the press, like day by day, the press coming more and more with us. The second week, but I was just enjoying. I swear, Nick, I didn't feel the pressure one more. I had not stressed when she played the final. I was like, wow, like a kid. And I feel also that's what helped her. She didn't feel any pressure from my side. We didn't change anything. We were having fun during the training, playing with the rugby ball like this for the warm up and everything. And so yeah, it was an amazing experience.
I mean, what I think what you just said, it's incredible. And but also as a coach and being into that situation, which it happens a lot in tennis, right? That there is a family member involved. It's not easy to manage. But as a coach, a lot of times you do have to manage because it's an individual sport. So you have a lot of the support system around. But what a historic week for French tennis. And it's so interesting to hear you say that watching her lifting that trophy after that serve all wide there that you guys joke around, did that make you look back how far you came from? Did you have flashbacks, or when did you really realize what a unbelievable moment that was?
I realized after the semifinal, when she wins the semifinal, I called my wife and I said, maybe it will never happen again. What I'm going through now, final of Wimbledon. And I said to her, can you fly tonight and come to London? And she said, yeah, of course I'm coming because, as I said, maybe it will never happen again. So from that moment, I started to realize what we were doing, what she was doing, what we were, because I was there, I
Yeah.
was helping her. I think after the match, I realized the impact that it had in France, like the media, the attention, and even it got into her head also. She was not expecting like this much. It was crazy. You cannot imagine. She was invited to the Tour de France cycling. I wish I would be invited there. She was going on the football field to do the kick, I mean, it was crazy, but I was not looking as a coach. I was not looking to be under the light. So I stayed home after Wimbledon. I think I didn't see her for 2 weeks. I told her you need time to digest. Like it was your dream to win Wimbledon, and I was home and I was like, can you imagine like what we did? I was looking the highlights of the match and remembering like where we come from, from Eastbourne being sick, like 40 degrees fever and everything to the title. Like my life changed as a coach in 2 weeks because people didn't know me. They only knew me for the story with Tomic. But before that,
Yeah.
maybe French player, they knew me, but I was not a top pro player. So
Yeah.
voilà, not many knew me.
Yeah, I mean, well, congratulations again. Just you telling, I think it gives goosebumps to a lot of people just listening to it. So I can only imagine how it was managing those moments because, again, in other sports, when a championship happens, it's usually a team. So it's sort of divided that attention among many athletes. But in tennis, it's such a, even with the team, it's such a small team. So
Yeah.
that attention, it becomes so strong with the pressure and everything. So now talk about that transition, right? Like her winning Wimbledon, what happens after, and then heading into the next player, which we'll talk a little bit about Timea, the success that you have there. It's incredible. So for a coach, winning or not, just like everything, the pressure increases when you win things. People expect more out of everyone. So how was that for you to manage that aspect from the outside but also internally, right? The expectations from the player, from the family, everything increases as well.
For me, I didn't feel the pressure of results, even from the other players and everything. I just used, and I'm keep using it. This experience of living the high level, like the last steps of the Grand Slam, where you feel a lot of pressure. But me, as I told you, I didn't feel the pressure. I'm just focusing on my work, what I should do, and being a professional 200% each day, and not focusing on the results. And I think this is why I have good results with my player, because they feel this. I'm just there for them 200% each day. There is not one day where I'm not there for them 200%. And I know that if the results, they don't come now, it will come for sure. The way we work, what we do, I can promise you to imagine if you are my player, I can tell you, I mean, if you don't win now, I'm sure if you keep working this way, it's gonna come. I just cannot tell you when, but I
Yeah.
can promise you it's gonna come.
I mean, it's definitely a commitment from all sides. And so the next player, Timea, you achieved something different than what you achieved with Bartoli. She becomes world number one in doubles, top 25 in singles. You probably know the many titles that you guys won during that partnership. But again, we're always interested in understanding how did that partnership start, and just with the experience that you had with Bartoli, was that something that you said you didn't have expectations, but talk how you guys met, and did Timea had that expectation? Well, this guy now is gonna make me win everything too, or how was it?
So the first time I met Timea, we were in Shenzhen during the New Eve. I was not with her, huh? She was with her team, and I was just there waiting. That's the tradition in Shenzhen. On 31st, all player and coaches who wants to stay until midnight, we stay in the lobby, and when it's midnight, we say Happy New Year to everyone, and we go to bed. And she came, and she was so sick. She was so bad that she couldn't stay until the end. She went back, and this is how I met her. And her fitness coach was one of my best friends. I worked with him with Tomic. And then after this, there is the Australian Open. I go back home, and on the way back when I land, I receive a message. Timea is looking for a coach, and she want to call you. Do you want me to give her number? I said, yeah, go for it. And she calls me, and she was playing. There was that tournament at that time in Paris during the winter.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, okay, if you want, I come to see you play in Paris, and then we can have a seat. And so she plays, and we have a talk after we have a dinner together, and then we decided to work together. I was supposed to join her only in Indian Wells because I had to have surgery on my nose. And after the surgery, 1 week after, she said, can you come now? So I went there, and we started to work like crazy because I can tell you she was really, really down. She was depressed a bit. On the short ball, she was only slicing like this. She couldn't accelerate. We even thought she had like asthma, but it was because of the stress. So then we started this very long process. But this girl, you cannot imagine how much she was working. She was able to digest a big amount of working. When I started to work with her, many coaches or some people from this world told me, why you coach her? You go from Bartoli to her. She will never be good. And I say, I can tell you that she can be good because she works hard. She was really open. She was just 21 years old. And so we started to create good routines. I wanted to teach her also, your day should be like this. And step by step, getting more and more confidence, she became that level. But it's really, really not a hazard what we did. She worked so hard. She helped me a lot. Now represent 6 years of my coaching career on the tour. I'm on 13 years, so she represents half of my career on the tour.
Yeah.
There are things that we could have done better. I was still young on the tour. When I started working with her, I was only my third year on the tour. So for sure, we could have done better things, but we gave it all, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you can always guess do better. Amount of Grand Slams you won, amount of titles that you guys won. That was definitely pretty good. I don't have all the numbers here, but she's started winning her first Grand Slam titles. Also, just to succeed in both, singles and doubles, that's just quite incredible. I mean, there are a lot, no, I'm going to say not a lot, but there are players that are able to do that, but that's not easy. Talk a little bit also just about this aspect of like singles and doubles. For you to be able to succeed in both, it's different strategies, it's different mindset, and also it takes a toll on your body because you have to play both well and you have less time to recover. But you talked about her work ethic. Did you have that in mind, or how was that? Like, were you guys focusing in singles and the doubles just came, or was that more focused in doubles? How is that?
No, we fixed a rule in the beginning when we started to work because she was already 16 in the world doubles. So she was already a great doubles player, but she was 130 in single. So sometimes when you play you are not in the qualies, or then you have to play single qualies, but you are still competing in doubles, then you have to skip the qualies. The single, it makes no sense. So we say, okay, if you can play the doubles, you play, but priority is the single. Okay. That even for her, it was crystal clear. And from the moment the double will be a handbrake to your single, then we will stop. We were taking the example of the Grand Slam. If you start to do consistently second week of a Grand Slam, then we're going to reduce the double because the day off, I don't want you to imagine it's raining or whatever and you have to stay until 10 p.m. You lose so much energy. Timea in Grand Slam, her best result was third round against Simona Halep a few times. So she was not, she didn't have so many great results in Grand Slam. This is why she could play double and win this match. But that was the strategy. Also, what I liked, sometimes when she was a bit down and she was losing in single first round, for example, we knew in double she would win or go far. The thing is that even if she had a match, for example, doubles in the afternoon, we were still doing the gym and our training in the morning. The good thing they did is the no-ad and the super tiebreak. Sometimes you play a double, but it's 1 hour match. It's not 3 hours. It's more in case of like a delay. This is where it becomes difficult.
As you mentioned, you spent 6 years with her. The amount of titles that you guys win, it's incredible. Did you start a different appreciation that maybe you didn't have before for doubles?
That was a bit the thing in the beginning that I felt not comfortable. Oh, she won a slam, but I'm not a double coach. That's the thing. They put you are a double coach. No, I'm just a coach. I was so happy when she won her 250 WTA 250 in doubles, or when she made her first quarterfinal single. I'm a coach. The thing I'm the most proud with her in doubles is the year she finished number one. We fixed that goal in the off season. We say, okay, she was 25 in single, and I say, why we don't just work sometime? We never work like things from purely the double things. Let's try to make you a better double player that you can transfer for the single part, the volley, the approach and everything, serve and volley, for example. Let's try to become number one. Okay, she had a good partner. She was playing with Christina, and she made it that year. In Wimbledon, she became number one in the world.
What an incredible run. And also congrats, because in tennis, sometimes you don't see that long of partnerships, especially on the WTA tour. So it's spending, 6 years. It's actually quite a long time with a player. You see much more turnover. Now, the next player, which again, great success there. You don't see in many sports, maybe a little bit now, but the different cultures that you have to adapt, not only from different personalities of player to player, but you start working with Wang, a Chinese player. How was that transition for you just overall?
Wang, this story is crazy because I started working with her because, she had her coach, the Australian guy, he died from cancer. So she was traveling a lot alone for 1-2 months, maybe a bit more. Then they called me and I was supposed to join her after Roland Garros. But her agent said, okay, she can't anymore with this coach. Can you meet her at French Open? So in 24 hours, I packed my bag and I went there. I arrived there and she's not talking to me. She said, hello. I sit to the table. She's on the phone. I just arrived, like first minute of seeing her. There was the physio and the fitness coach, one Japanese guy and one Chinese guy. They were barely talking English. She was talking good English, but not talking to me. I'm like, wow, what am I gonna do? And after lunch, I said, at that time was Kyung, can we talk a bit together? You want to have a coffee with me? We sit. And I was talking, I was doing a monologue. She was saying like this, but not really talking. Then she sent us, I go to the locker, we practice at 3 p.m. Okay. We go, we play, I do my job. On the court was a lot better. She was waiting for me and we play, but still like no communication, nothing. I was like, well, maybe in 3 days she's going to say that we didn't match and she's going to send me home. And I still remember that moment. On the fourth practice of the day, we train and then she missed one shot or like it was the forehand and I stop and I say, you see this cue, you should have done this way and not this way. And she told me after that what I told her, that's what exactly she felt at the same time. And from that moment, it's like I earned her trust. She completely changed. I could tell her to jump on the tree or to do 10 push-ups. She would have done it. And from that moment, we created this strong relationship where she gave me her trust and we did like amazing job after that.
Yeah. I'm talking about a little bit because it was a tough loss at the US Open, losing to Serena. How was that moment for you, for her,
In a way, I was really happy because Q never did the second week of Grand Slam before that match. Quarterfinal US Open, and she plays Serena Williams on Arthur Ashe in night session. So just imagine the level of pressure. Behind the scene, there was already a few months since French Open that I was telling to her fitness coach that she should work more in the gym. She was only doing like coordination, speed and everything, which is fine. We have to do this. But I said, if she wants to beat those players, like Serena and like those strong players, Pliskova at that time, she needs to be more in the gym. And they were not doing it. And this story is crazy. The morning of the quarterfinal, I didn't want her to stay all day in the room, because they were playing a lot of game and I'm like, it's not good for her. So I tell her, okay, let's meet in the gym at 10:30. We do like mobilization and everything. I arrive in the gym and I see her with bar on the shoulder doing bench press and everything. I don't say anything in front of her, but I look at her fitness coach and I'm like, after when she leaves, I say, what did you do? She didn't touch one weight, and now the morning of the quarterfinal, but she's gonna have power. I'm like, it's not because of that she lost 1-1. But then I was waiting because when she got killed, I show her the match after. I said, you see, you were tight, you were stressed and everything, but you see how powerful she is. When you hit her ball, it's like you are flying. When she saw 185, you don't have the power. After that, unfortunately, she fired the fitness coach. And she told me, I know you can do it. Do you want to do it? I said, we can do a test for 1 month on the Chinese tournament. And after 1 month, if you are happy, we do this month's test and everything. She is happy. And then, okay, now you will do my fitness during the off season. I said, but you know what we're going to do, huh? Yeah. No worries. I trust you. And I swear, Nick, she was working 6 hours per day. We were in Shenzhen in the academy. I stayed there. I just came back 3-4 days for Christmas. And then I moved back to Shenzhen to be with her. And we were training like crazy. Like she was like a soldier. She was so determined because in her hand, the story with Serena before killed her, but also gave her a lot of hope of what she could do if she was becoming stronger. So she gave me all the keys. Let's do. My God. And she improved so much. She became stronger. And then after what happened.
I think it's a good leadway. Let's fast forward to Australian Open 2020. They meet again. So quite a turnaround. You talked about the preparation independently of that match in itself, where she started working on off season, whatever it was that next breakthrough for her. The story of that moment, that day before she sees it on the draw. Okay, there she is again. Serena was going for a big title. She had just missed getting to that 24th. Can you talk a little bit about that process, from how you guys felt? How was her mental preparation? How is the physical? Everything, if you can share with us.
I remember because coaching is also mental. There is a big part of mental what we do. It's not only tactic, technique, or fitness. And in US Open, even the attention, the media and everything, they put Serena here, and you as a player, you feel here. She chooses when she decides to come on the court, even if they call the match, she arrives 15 minutes later, it's okay because it's Serena, So I wanted to put Wang on the same level, that she doesn't feel like this, that she feel like that. It didn't work. She was not ready for this in the US Open,
Yeah.
But then what I did at Australian Open, I didn't try this tactical part. I put her in front of the mirror and I said, you see, that was the cue before, but now look how strong you are. Look at yourself and trust all the work we did in Shenzhen. You remember how many balls, 50 balls like this, you were able to bring back right to left. with more power now. Stay aggressive, but I want Serena to hit 20 balls every rally. It's hot there. You're going to win this match, but you're going to want it physically. Bring her in. Don't let her bing, bang, boom in 2 shots. That's what she wants, to put big pressure to avoid the long rallies. You have the power now and you have the strength to keep her in your part of the game. Okay? Be solid. And that's what she was fighting the whole match. At the end, Serena missed also that ball because she was tired. I think, I don't know what she never talked about that. That was that. So I cried at the end of the match. I didn't cry because she beat Serena and she's in the 4th round. I cried because all of the process from September to January, what we did, what she did. And that's what I like in coaching, because people, they don't see like the amount of hour we did to win that match.
Yeah. I mean, this we need to get the mirror on the wall story when you put it on the that's incredible.
But
story.
I could see, Yannick, I could see on her eyes. I could see in her eyes she had this fire, like she felt strong, and she was like, ah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Now, COVID, right? COVID hit right after that. I don't think it was a easy moment for anyone, but also I think there's a breaking momentum for coaching, right?
Yeah. So the beginning of the COVID marked the end of my relationship with Wang. We traveled from Dubai to Los Angeles, and when we arrived for Indian Wells, and we arrived there after 16 hours flight, they announced that the tournament is canceled. So, we didn't know if Miami gonna happen or everything. So I tell to Wang, okay, let's go back to Monaco. We train there, waiting for the answer of Miami. And in case we are there and we can prepare the clay season. Okay, because I didn't want her to go back to China. I didn't know what's going to happen. I don't want her to go to China to come back to play on clay after. And she said, okay, so we go back to Monaco. We arrive there. She sleep in my house, with the doctor and everything. Next morning, tuck, tuck, tuck. I see her in front of the door with the 2 luggage. And she say, they cancel Miami. I don't want to stay. I want to go back to China. And maybe after I come back to train with you on clay. It's a risk, but okay, I cannot force you to stay here. I said, imagine they close the border. What do we do? Because, China, is strict. And that's what happened. I never saw her again after. So after, like everyone, I was locked down, and when they started to release us, I worked again 1 year with Timea, like 7-8 months in that period, like to help her a bit. And then after that, I started working with Jacqueline Christian. Also a very great story. Yeah.
Yeah, and so talk about Jacqueline. She's at that point, she's still a very young player, a promise out there, but you get her at the very beginning of, let's say, that first breakthrough that she has. And even when you work with Q, she was a well-developed player, and you had already worked with a lot of well-developed players, but you start with Jacqueline and she's outside of the top 100. I'm sure it's difficult for you as a coach, but what did you see in her? You had to go to the drawing board again.
So I met Jacqueline in the Bastad tournament. I was in Bastad because I was helping for a few weeks Anna Bonda. She asked me, can you help me for 3 weeks like that? So I went there and I meet Jacqueline. I'm doing my bike in the gym and she comes. I never talked to her before. I saw her in some tournament, but never talked. And a good feeling with boyfriend was there and everything. And then like a few days later, she calls, she talked to me and she said, can we meet tonight in the lobby? I remember she comes alone like this in the flip flop, like with the hair like that, like... And a very sad face. And she started to talk and she said, Thomas, because she was very good junior, she was the top junior. And she said, I cannot make it to top 100. She was 170, 175. I can't make it to top 100. I want to stop tennis. I don't know what to do anymore. That life is not easy. Also, you spend a lot of money, but you don't make a lot when you're at that ranking. And I don't know, she something in me, inside me. I saw myself as a player when she talked to me. You don't have money, you don't have coaches, you don't have stable thing around you. And because she said, I cannot pay you this, so it was not easy. And I decided, okay, I'm going to help you. But I think if you are not top 100 yet, it's because there are things that you don't do well. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we're going to check together and then we're going to fix some rules and let's try to see. So we did 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, I say, okay, you are not doing recovery. You are not doing mobilization. You are not going to the gym. On the court, you are with your phone. You are eating Doritos. We joked after, but one day I saw her at the gas station with 3 bags of Doritos. I'm like, you are a Formula One and you put diesel inside. It's not possible, So if you want to work with me, we're gonna apply these rules, more discipline in the more work ethic and everything. and she was fully in. And the luck is after 3 months she was already top 100 in the Linz tournament. She lose final to Alison Rees. She lost, and she became top 100 after that tournament. So when you are in that circle, that you make effort and it comes quickly. Imagine you 175 to top 100 in 3 months. I wish I would have done it. So it gave her even more. She was even pushing me for more and more and more and more. And 4 months later, she becomes 56, 55. So in 7 months, she's from 175 to 55. And unfortunately, in Doha, she beat Rybakina. She was 15 in the world. And then she was winning easily against Kasatkina, like maybe 6-2. She was on fire. And then she broke her ACL. And then like that was not easy.
Yeah. Well, what incredible stories. I want to sort of go into a little bit of a different direction here as we're heading to this final segment. You've coached so many different areas of players, levels, winning, development. Now, what do you think just coaching in general in tennis? What do you believe that can just change on the coaching of tennis to continue to improve, to continue to get better? How do you see the future of coaching professionally? What are the things that you hope to get better in coaching in general?
For myself or for
For the industry?
No, for the industry, but I think in tennis, the coach are not really recognized. Everybody needs a coach, but they don't give the respect we should have. And I think people like you, like Unboxed, they're gonna help to change the world for the coaches to be more recognized by our industries, but also from the fans. Because when we talk or when we do interviews, for example, the fans, they really like the point of view of the coaches. And I think also like this process is gonna make our job even more serious, more quality of coaching. That's for sure gonna happen. And we need this, especially on the WTA side. I did both, but on ATP, they are a bit more in front of that. That's what I think about a general perspective. That's what we need.
Yeah, awesome. And I want to touch a little bit of your creative side, which is the cards challenge, which I always think it's fascinating, especially for young kids, for people who have not watched yet, the Parenting Aces podcast, please do. Because how did you come up with the cards challenge? What it is, who can use it, and where it is now?
So this game was born during the COVID period. I was in Hungary, and this is when I trained Timea Babos. So, we were only training without any goals. We didn't know when we're going to start the tournament. And I realized that at the end of the week, it was tough for her, okay, let's go back to train, but for what? So one day I arrived on the court and I decided I had sheet of paper like this and I put, okay, if I make an ace to you, 3 points. Oh, you have to do 10 push-ups before we start the point. If you win the point, doesn't count. And she played and I saw like 2 kids on the court. And then, oh, can we do it next week? Yeah. Then I tried to do it. I remember I went on Google. If you score the next point, it doesn't count. Printed a guy who is in jail like this, like, and she told me, you are crazy. You go full power all the time, Then, so this, step by step, I started to create more cards. And this is how this game was born, because I did it, the pro started to do it. But when I saw that I woke up the child spirit in the player's game, I was like, I couldn't adapt it for the kids. And my son is playing, so I developed that game with him. The design is, imagine through the Pokemon cards game, colorful and everything. So the concept of the game is to play a super tie-break, because people have to know that that card game, you play it right on the court. It's not a game that you play on the table. That's the interest of the game. And we're going to play a match together, Yannick, where you're going to use cards against me, and I'm going to use cards, like 3 cards by super tie-break that you can use the maximum, because I want the game to be fast also. And you're going to challenge me with hotshot cards, which is about the technique, the fitness cards, and the tricks to work on the mental and the tactical aspect of the game. So by playing game, by creating intention, assuming also our choices, I wanted to make this game fun for the kids, but still with an interest of working something.
Awesome. And so the website is called the Cards Challenge?
The Cards Challenge, because there are about the mental, the paddle, and the tennis. There are the 3 games at the moment.
Awesome. So make sure you checked it out. We'll put it the website and the Instagram here for you guys to check it out. Now let's go into our last section, and we start with this question. And the first question is: if you could have a chance to give an advice to the younger Thomas, what advice would you give to the younger Thomas? And how old would the younger Thomas be when he would be receiving this advice?
I would say to the young Thomas, you are good enough. Trust yourself. Because I had a abusive grandfather, was treating me not good. And that really affected me all my tennis career, the player. Okay. So not confidence enough. And that's the best advice I would say, because I had a good work ethic. I think I had the game to become better than I was. But the mental part is very important in tennis. So if at young age we put you down and we tell you that you are a piece of when you lose, that doesn't help at all. So I think that's the advice I would tell him. And if there is something like, by my experience as a player, as a dad, as a coach, if I can give an advice to the parents that are listening our earth today, it's be patient. Don't put too much pressure. I think the only thing you can ask to your kids is to be disciplined and to give their maximum. After they're on the court and they play a match, is just a match. They can win, they can lose. The most important is to explain them why they lost, but also why they won. And we build from there. I think this is very important.
That's awesome. Thank you. Now, this last part, 10 questions. Please try to answer as quick or with the least amount of words as possible. Okay?
Okay. Sorry if I don't understand
English. Please feel free to ask me to repeat. We're going to start. One word to describe yourself as a person.
Discipline.
One word to describe yourself as a coach.
Work ethic.
What are you most proud of in life?
The adult I became.
What are you most proud of in tennis?
Change.
What's your current dream?
To win a slam again.
What do you consider yourself an advocate for? So what is something that you want to change or you want to help?
To educate the young generation of players.
Do you have an athlete or coach you look up to?
No.
Do you have a sport or a team that you support, you keep up with?
Cycling. Décathlon AG Désert La Mondiale.
There you go. I think we knew this one was coming. Do you have a favorite book or podcast that you would recommend everyone to read, listen?
Yes, Thinking Big.
And to wrap up, do you have a quote, a philosophy, a mantra that you like or you live by?
Yes, I think all my players could give this answer also. Discipline, work, patience. DWP. That's what I say all the time. DWP.
Awesome. Discipline, work, and patience. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Merci beaucoup, Thomas. I mean, it was just great to know your story better. Hearing behind the scenes, hearing about the stories on how you yourself has developed, but also the players, is just been a great learning from myself. Also to hear your entrepreneur side with the cards game, your cyclist. I don't even know how much time you have. Maybe in France you'll have a day over 24 hours there, but we wish you the very best. I'm sure you're gonna get out back there on the tour, continue to help players and just also the youth to just be better. But yeah, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much, Yannick. It was a pleasure to share everything I could share with you tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for listening. Please follow Thomas on his continue entrepreneur as a cyclist, as a coach, as the Cards Challenge. Also follow the podcast here for more stories such as this, and on our Instagram at Unboxed Sports. And thank you very much for everyone listening, and see you next time.